We don't need a new world order. Living free is our battle cry. We don't need a new world order. Misinformation bottled up with lies. Don't you know the further lies? Where's the disguise? Makes you believe that it's all okay.
Hey, how you doing out there? This is Bob on Bob's Blues in the News, coming to you directly from Atlanta, Georgia. Just giving you my 3 cents. Hope everyone is doing well. That's a little song I did called New World Order. And we are in a new world order. Exactly how it's going to end up, no one quite knows. I mean, it's true we were going toward more or less a global Davos kind of world, where the bankers and the international entrepreneurs would control everything with open borders and more or less a world view that would decrease and do away with nationalism. And that was all fine and good until the Trump man showed up. And so that idea of a new world order, even though it's still hanging around, that idea, and there's plenty of people who still believe in that idea, especially in Europe, is taking the back seat to what Trump is doing on a geopolitical, way. Of course, we're talking about Iran every day, and that war has not quite finished, but I think it's winding down. Hopefully it's winding down. Of course, that problem in Iran has been there for 47 years, thanks to a lot of European nations and Jimmy Carter here, who did away with the Shah because they thought it would be easier to work with these crazies. Like Obama giving money to the crazies. All these woke people who want to give money to the crazies so they get crazier. But you can't deal with them. So Trump, even though Trump says he's dealing with them, in fact, I think they just made another offer. They wrote him a letter, so I think Kushner and Wyckoff, I have to go over there again to see what the letter says. In the meantime, there's still a blockade on the Strait of Hormuz, and the IRGC and with their little dinghies, with their little rowboats, are still attacking ships. I think they've bamboozled maybe 3 ships, pirated 3 ships already recently. But, they're decimated, and they're fighting among themselves. Who's in charge? We really don't know. But it's more or less the militants, the IRGC. So Trump is changing the world. And after this war with the Middle East is going to be a different place. Now, I'm not saying the jihadists are going to go away. There are always those crazies around. But if we can put them in their place, put the hammer on them, because that's the only thing I understand, is strength and force. And using the hammer every time you need to do it, to smack them around, because if you don't, they get uppity. You know what I mean? And then the whole Muslim world says, well, if these guys are winning, maybe we should join them. And then the other Muslims join them. You know what I mean? And they don't speak up because their cousin is a jihadist. And if they speak up, they're going to get their throat slit. They're tribal anyway. So they're halfway savages. Not saying all of them, but a lot of them are that way. And it's been going, at least 47 years. I'm talking about Iran. It's really been going on 1,400 years, this war with Islam. That's a long history. And, they've done this stuff before in the past. Even, remember Thomas Jefferson back, he was dealing with the Barbary pirates back in North Africa when they were commandeering the ships in the Mediterranean. He had to go over there and straighten things out. So this is nothing new. And Muhammad himself was a warrior, and he killed thousands and thousands of people. And after him, the Muslims almost conquered the whole world. And they didn't do it peacefully. Now they're doing it, more gentle. They're seeking in with dawah, it's persuading people. Yeah, this is the way we need to act. You know what I mean? And they're not always taking the sword and the sickle, even though Iran's a different case in point. But look in Europe. I mean, they've just infiltrated, coming through Spain, because Spain is wide open. Remember the Moors, they used to control Spain. So it's easy for these Arabs to go through Spain, get the EU passport, and then go to Europe and build their mosque and preach jihad and spread spread Sharia law. And I understand all the French girls are just wild about the Muslims, except they don't want to give up eating pork, from what I understand. So anyway, France still has pork, and they still have dogs running around. So they haven't totally taken over France, but they're working on it. So what is the new world order after Trump? It's going to be hard to say, because if Trump loses, the midterm, and then his power base loses, the Republicans lose in the 28 election, and we go back to the Democrats who hate Israel, are totally woke, and more or less like the Europeans who open the borders and let all the the Western world is finished. Now, I hate to be pessimistic, but I'm telling you, if the left gets back in power with the crew they got now, these crazies they got now, the West is finished. The West is finished in Europe, just about. It's only Israel and the United States that are keeping the West together. Western civilization, traditional Western civilization, mom, apple pie, the red, white, and blue, God and country, Judeo-Christian values. And we can get on that argument too, because we say, why Judeo? What does the Jews got to do? Where do you think you got the New Testament from? I don't think Jesus was Moses, I don't want to get into theology right now, but I'm just saying that if we go, back, and I'm talking about the United States, if we go back to Harris and Obama and Biden, that philosophy and that tendency, like they got in New York and like California and Minnesota and Chicago, these left crazies, they're going to bring the whole United States down, and they're going to bring the whole Western civilization down with them. And I'm Jewish, so I just might pack up and go to Israel. You know what I mean? I'm American first here because I'm born in America. But if I see no hope here, and I'm Jewish, they're going to come after me because they all hate Jews. It's a standard procedure to go after the Jews, especially when you give up on God and you become woke and you tend to be communist or socialist, and you want to cut off your sex and put on another sex, and it's a fast downhill slide to chaos and oblivion. But things change all the time. Trump is still in power, thank God. He's doing good, I think, even though people say, oh, he's vulgar, he has bad personality, but he has the right vision. He has the right vision, and he's a man of his word. And I don't think this deal with Iran is going to last much longer, because they're about through. They're running out of money. They got no water over there. There's a drought. Everything's been destroyed as far as the military goes. The only thing they got left is maybe a few missiles and, bunkers deep down in the ground where all these jihadists hide, and these little dinghies and these little boats in the Strait of Hormuz, and they're playing for time because they think, Trump is not going to do so well in the midterms coming up in October. He's going to lose the House. He's going to lose the Senate. He won't have as much power. And if they wait out long enough, the Democrats will come out in power, and the Democrats, of course, will support this regime, even though it's a horrific regime, although it's done so many bad stuff, so much bad stuff, but still they'll support him because it's against what Trump did. So, but in the same time, I don't think that's going to work for Iran, because I think they're going to run out, unless China supports them or Russia supports them, which is possible. I think they're going to run out of money. They're going to run out of oil. Their whole civilization will just, it's almost crumbled now, completely crumbled now, but I don't think there's going to be much left of it at all in short order. So I don't know if they can even wait until the midterms. But they'll stretch it out and stretch it out and stretch it out. And as long as there's one jihadist left with a breath, and he's still alive, still on this side of the ground, he will claim that they've been victorious and they have bamboozled the United States and they are winning, 300%. Of course, they know how to lie very well. They know how to put, and they have this whole idea that God is on their side, Allah is on their side, They talk to their Messiah, Mahdi or something. They believe he's still alive and that he's the light, and all I gotta do is be true to him, and they can do no wrong. And whatever happens, it's God, it's Allah's will, and and they are bound to win in the end. They're infallible. They have the absolute truth, and nothing can persuade them to bend down to the heathens. That means us. Unless you take a hammer and you hit them on top of the head, and they have no choice. That's the only thing that works. So we'll see where this all ends up. But from the podcast I've been watching recently, it seems pretty positive. It seems pretty positive that they have really boxed themselves in the corner. Anyway, I hope all have a good weekend, and I'll see you next time. I've got to go. I got things to do, people to see, and have a blessed weekend. Bless up, people. This is Bob on Bob's Blues and the News. I'll just continue with my little tune. New World Order.
We don't need a new world order. Living free is our battle cry. We don't need a new world order. Misinformation modeled up with lies. Now if you look deep into the secret mysteries, you'll find the meaning of this time. All around you is not what it seems to be. Can you see the colors of your